obviously, we are proud again to be the partner of the Golden State Warriors again this year. And as we get ready for the season, that means we get to talk to the great Steve Kerr every single week right here on Willard and Dibs. So for the first time this year, let's welcome in the head coach of the GSW Hoops. Steve Kerr is brought to you by the Next Generation 10G Network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now. And brought to you by Great Clips. And Steve, Great Clips, so excited to sponsor this segment. They are offering our whole show and you and your family free haircuts throughout the entire season, which is really good for me and you, not so much for Dibsy's bald. Oh, yeah. But congrats to you and me, basically.
We're in. I love it.
How good is that?
Haircuts.
Unbelievable. I don't know why we didn't do this sooner, but Steve, hey, how's the off season? How you doing, man?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm really excited about the coming season and feeling, energetic and recharged. And I really like our team. And yeah, everything's good.
Are you more excited about this year's Warriors team or your fantasy team, which you mentioned yesterday? Big win. Steve, please, how much did you win by, and who are your star players?
Yeah, I'm just going to say I have a modest team this year, but I am 4-2. I've been, but my guys have been playing on heart, basically. We're just squeaking out wins right now.
Nice. I lost to my partner sitting across from me, so I'm feeling, I'm licking wounds over here. Hurt. Yeah, 1-5, Steve. Yeah. I've lost to everybody on staff.
Oh.
Except for you.
Ouch.
Yeah, I could use your steady in hand and your guidance, Steve, but I think you're a little busy right now getting all the fellas dialed up for an NBA season. What do you make of Chris Paul so far and how he's fitting in as a new Warriors?
Yeah, Chris is great. I mean, he's obviously such a great point guard. I mean, one of the all-time greats, and still playing at such a high level. And my experience has always been smart players just figure out their surroundings quickly, and that's what's happening with Chris. He's asking great questions. He's constantly, sort of probing with the other guys, not only asking them questions, but figuring stuff out on the floor, on the fly. And I think he's really enjoying it. This is a different type system for him, a different type of game. He's always been the main ball handler on every team he's ever played on, and on this team, he can be part of the group. There's so many guys who can make plays. So a little more motion, a little more pace. And I think he's really enjoying the transition.
Steve, how do you think his emotion, not motion, his emotion, fits in with this particular group?
Well, I think he's the perfect fit for us right now because, frankly, I think we need his leadership. I think we needed, a guiding force for this group. I think, our team was so young last year and obviously, never really got it going. I think we put up a pretty good fight in the playoffs, but never really found our groove. And I think, coming into this season, I think Mike Dunleavy and his staff, I think they recognized that we needed more veteran leadership. And between Chris and Dario Saric and Corey Joseph, we added 3 incredible professionals and really, really good players. I mean, obviously Chris is a Hall of Famer, but Dario is a terrific player. Corey's been a rock-solid point guard in this league for, almost a decade. So it just feels like this group is more balanced and more capable of kind of getting off to a good start, establishing something early, and building some momentum.
A lot of excitement around some of the older players who you've brought in, but one of the youngsters who's still here, Jonathan Kuminga, is stealing headlines. How many steps forward would you say he's taken? I know it's early, preseason, but a lot of buzz about the way JK's playing.
Yeah, he's feeling more comfortable than ever before. He looks more confident. He's shooting the ball well. We have a really good vibe going. I think he's more comfortable in his own skin, which makes him more aware of the mistakes he makes and what he's got to clean up, and he's embracing coaching more. I just think it's all part of a natural maturity that's happening with JK. I mean, the talent has never been a question, but the main thing is this is his third year, and he's learning the NBA. He's learning what makes winning plays, what winning looks like, and his first couple of years, that stuff's hard to figure out, because everything is happening so fast. So it feels like JK is starting to get comfortable and figure out, what wins, and it's coming at a great time because, we really need him.
Steve Kerr with us here on Willard and Dibs every single week now as the season gets started on 95.7 The Game. Coach, that's an interesting comment that JK is accepting coaching more. I don't know how you would phrase what was going on in the playoffs last year. People say it was the doghouse. Maybe it was something different. But what can you share with regard to where that journey was then and what has happened to where it is now?
I don't have a doghouse. I really don't. I just when the playoffs come, I just play the guys who I think are going to help us win, and that's last year that's what I did. We had Gary Payton back. We've got Clay and Steph and Wiggs and Draymond. I mean, we had a lot of guys who were capable of helping us win, and so I chose them. And I didn't feel like JK was ready at that point, frankly. So if I did, I would have played him. So it's pretty simple. So this is all part of every young player's process. It's going through and growing and learning, and then getting to the point where you've earned that trust from the staff, and you understand what makes winning plays, and it's been really fun. I mean, JK and I are really clicking and enjoying each other's company and collaborating every single day, and it's I think it's all playing out just as it should.
Fans are really hoping for that third-year jump that we saw from Jordan Poole and other pros have made. But a lot of questions, Steve, about Draymond Green. I'm not trying to go all Rick Celebrini on you, but how's the health of Draymond? Is he going to be able to be there for opening night, or is it still going to be a little bit wait and see?
I think opening night is questionable. He's not going to play this week, so but he is doing really well. He's moving much better. He went on the trip with us over the weekend and got in some good individual workouts. And I'm not overly concerned about whether he plays opening night or the second week of the season, whenever it comes. It's a long year, and we just want Draymond healthy because obviously we need him. When he's out there, we become one of the best defenses in the league. And if he's not out there early on, it's okay. Well, we got a lot of depth, and we're excited about that depth. And I think we're going to be much more capable this year of withstanding injuries than we were a year ago.
So, Coach, questionable for opening night. I know everyone's made so much this offseason about the starting lineup, but you've mentioned that this week's games might be a bit of a dress rehearsal. So if he won't play these games, what are you planning to do there, and how does that affect your rotations?
Well, we want to make sure we're getting a good look at different combinations. And, we've got a lot of new guys, and last night we looked at Dario at the 4 a little bit. So Dario played with Loon in the third quarter, and he was great. And that's a great sign for us that he can stay in front of guys defensively on the perimeter, and that because he can stretch the floor and shoot the 3, which gives you the spacing you need on the offensive side. But as you guys know, last year we were small an awful lot, and when we went to certain lineups in the playoffs, we didn't have enough size, but if we had gone with the size, we wouldn't have had enough shooting. So I feel like, this is a training camp where we're really exploring a lot of lineups, seeing what we have, and we're going to continue to do that this week. The dress rehearsals are more about the routine than, the lineups. So we'll have a shoot around on Wednesday and Friday. We'll have a full scout where we go through the opponents and, walking through their favorite actions and that kind of stuff. So, this is the week where you kind of get used to their game day, your game day routine, and then you go from there.
A little bit of a different off season for you, not coaching all the way into June. I know you had some Olympic team duties, but did that add to the hunger a little bit, having so much extra time off? And how does it make you feel knowing that you guys come in a little bit more in the underdog role this year?
Well, I think the guys got back into the gym earlier this year because of the early exit. It meant for a longer summer, but by the time mid-August came around, a lot of our guys were really anxious to get back in the gym, and we had pickup ball going at our facility throughout September, and I think that was really helpful, especially for our young guys. So that part's good. I feel great. I spent 6 weeks with Team USA and had an amazing experience in the World Cup in Manila. I obviously wish we could have pulled it off and won the gold medal, but wasn't meant to be. But I'm feeling great. I mean, it was a great experience. Had a great summer, and like I said, I'm really excited about this team and the upcoming season. I'm ready to go.
Coach, you were talking about JK a little bit earlier. I wonder if we go even younger than that. TJD and Pajemski have had interesting preseasons. What kind of a role do you project for them this year?
Well, I think it's too early to tell, guys, but I can tell you we really like both of them. They both have a kind of an innate feel for the game. Brandon is tough. He believes in himself. He makes plays. He kind of is one of those guys who's always in the right spot, making the deflection or, getting the cut for the layup, making the right pass. He has a great feel. And then I think Trace played 125 games in college at Indiana, and that's so rare these days. Most rookies come in, like our recent ones, like JK, like Moses, like James Wiseman, 19, barely any experience, and there's so much to learn. These two guys this year, these rookies, they're much further along than our rookies of recent years because of the experience they have and just the feel that they've shown. So it's exciting. Like I said, I think we have depth. I think if we have some injuries, I'm not going to hesitate to play any of those young guys, and if they can all help us win.
One of the vets in a contract year, Klay Thompson, is this going to be something that weighs on Klay? Do you anticipate that he and Mike Dunleavy are going to find a way to get this out of the way before we get too deep in the season?
Yeah, who knows on the contract stuff, but I know Klay well, and obviously we've been together 9 years now, and he loves the game so much. He takes so much pride in his own personal performance and production, and he wants so badly to play at the highest level. And he came into camp in great shape. I think he looks great. So I'm excited about what's ahead for Klay. He's been one of the best guards in the league for a decade, and there's a reason. I mean, he is big and strong and one of the best shooters of all time. So Klay's in a good place, and that's going to help us get off to a better start for sure.
Steve, how did it feel to have Warriors topics being discussed on ESPN by their newest analyst, Bob Myers, over the weekend? How did that go for you?
I didn't see any of it. I've had a couple of people text me and tell me what a good job he did, and Bob's a natural. I mean, he's obviously articulate and charismatic, and he knows the league so well. I mean, he's perfect for TV, and we're great friends. We talk all the time, and I know he's enjoying the extra time he now has for his family, and this will be a great fit for him. He'll be great in TV.
He was talking about the Klay Thompson situation, and I was like, what does this guy know? Like, seriously, you know what I mean?
Right. I heard he said something like, well, that's why I'm sitting here now, so I don't have to deal with all that.
Pretty much, yeah. He's like, I don't want to deal with this stuff. He did. It was interesting, Steve. He said that this was the largest challenge the organization has faced with regard to keeping the longtime core together. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think what Bob was referring to is just the new CBA makes it so punitive if you go deep into the tax and you get to that second apron that people talk about. In the past, keeping the team together was just as basically it came down to Joe and how much he was willing to spend. And we've all known forever, like Joe is committed to winning and he's going to spend whatever it takes. So we knew he would just go ahead and do that. And we keep our team together. Now with the new rules, it's so punitive that it really doesn't make sense to go into the second apron of the tax. So I think that's what Bob was referring to, and it really does pose a lot of challenges when we get to next season. This year we're fine, but next season there will be a lot of questions as to what plays out.
You mentioned Joe Lacob, and he's slated to come in here and be our first ever in-studio guest in our new studio Wednesday morning on the Morning Roast. Anything you want to ask him, or anything we should ask for you, Steve? Like, anything you're thinking about?
Yeah, if I have any questions, I'm just going to call Joe directly. But I do appreciate the offer. No, I think what I've always said about Joe is before he bought this team, I used to come in here as an opponent for years, 15 years as a player. There was always a buzz at Oracle, like this incredible joy and love for basketball. But they just didn't have good teams. And, I think Joe knew that. He sensed the potential of the Warriors. He knew it was kind of a diamond in the rough. And what he did from day one, the resources he poured into the organization, what he did sort of, tapping local revenue here in the Bay Area, which, was really primed for a great basketball team, given all the factors here. He just laid the foundation, and everything has followed since then. And so it's pretty incredible what Joe has put together and what we've all been able to be a part of.
Steve Kerr with us here, Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game. We haven't asked you about the old guy yet, Steph Curry. What kind of offseason did he have? And also, would love to know sort of how he and Chris Paul have blended in that, I don't know, through the years, one would think, oh, these guys are the same position. This isn't really going to make sense. What do you see about the on-court interaction between the two of them?
Well, I think, timing is everything in the NBA. And I think if this were 5 years ago, this probably wouldn't have made sense, that for Chris and Steph to play together. But it makes sense now. Chris is at the tail end of his career. Steph is, on the back nine for sure, maybe the back, 5 or 6. But they need each other right now, and they're collaborating. They were really good friends early on in their careers, both being from North Carolina. I know Chris was a mentor of sorts for Steph early on. And then they were rivals for a decade. But I feel like that's all easily put behind them because there's so much respect for each other, and they're both still so good at what they do, and they recognize they can help each other. And so every day has been fun to watch. They work out together. They're hanging out. They enjoy each other's company. It really is a great fit.
We haven't asked you about Andrew Wiggins either, and I want to know your thoughts on how important he is in terms of your ability to have flexible lineups if you go small and play him at more of a 4 spot, or if you go with a bigger lineup, and how he would fit in with that.
Honestly, the biggest thing with Wiggs is, he and JK are our two best athletes with size. Gary's in that group too. We need all three of those guys to be athletic and forceful at both ends. When Wiggs plays with force, you think about the playoff run in 22 when we won the whole thing, all the offensive rebounds, taking on the challenge, guarding Luka, guarding Jason Tatum, guarding all the best players. That's the Wiggs we need. So I'm not concerned about big lineup, small lineup. I'm concerned about making sure Wiggs is just using that athleticism and force and playing downhill. When he does that, we're just a much better team.
Well, Coach Steve Kerr, Willard and Dibs, hey, we're looking forward to the whole season. Plus, you mentioned off the top that you're 4-2 now in your league, which I assume means you don't need anything in this this Chargers-Cowboys game tonight. Is that right? You've already got it secured?
Yep, I've got it secured, so I will be watching tonight just as a fan. And good game, though, huh?
It
Cowboys,
should be.
Chargers.
Yeah. Good looking. Who'd you beat, by the way, in your league, Steve?
Our league is basically, we've had it for about 30 years. It's a bunch of college friends, and so it's so awesome because we talk so much trash. We got a group text every week, and guys are talking trash to each other, and I mean that's the beauty of fantasy football, right? I mean, it's like you just keeps you connected to people that you were with 30 years ago. So it's fun.
Well, we look forward to a conversation next week when you're 5-2, Coach.
Yes, let's hope.
All right, let's do it. Hey, Steve, thank you so much. We look forward to the year.
All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Thanks,
all right. And once again, that brought to you by Great Clips and the Next Generation 10G Network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Your boy's going to be high and tight all year long. Thanks
Good.
to the great Steve Kerr.